Hello, dear We're Not Fine listeners and viewers.
Hello.
This is the sixth and final mini-sode of our six-part We're Not Fine series of the best of How to Love. And today's topic,
Woohoo!
This was Doug's.
So, of course, it's my turn in this series. And one of the things that I have had so many debates with other clinicians about is how to apologize.
Ooh.
This podcast represents the opinions of our hosts and guests. The content here should not be taken as medical advice and is for informational purposes only. This podcast also does not establish a standard of care, doctor-patient, or client relationship. No guarantee is given regarding the accuracy of any statements or opinions made on the podcast or website. And because each person is so unique, all listeners are encouraged to connect with counseling and medical professionals for assistance with their personal journey. All people, places, and scenarios mentioned in the podcast have been changed to protect the privacy of those involved.
Welcome to We're Not Fine. I'm Dr. Talia Jackson.
And I'm Dr. Jensen. We thank you for listening every week to our deep and thought-provoking conversations about relationships.
And I love this so much because it's critically important for anyone wanting to resolve something in any relationship they have in order to apologize correctly. And I'm just going to say it's a very easy script to me. You know, if you have something that you're upset with or you're experiencing as difficult or challenging, an I feel statement is always the way to go. And as basic as it sounds, I feel blank when you blank. And really, like, Talia, I feel upset when you...
I don't do anything that bothers you.
Don't bring me peanut butter.
Really hard for you to come up with something that took a really long time.
I had lots of ideas, but I wanted to make it one where we could actually continue to talk.
And you didn't blow up. You didn't blow up.
And you didn't blow up and storm
conversation.
off like you always do in your fight or flight response.
Punch you in the face.
Yeah, you've done that too.
Moon you, give you the finger.
But here's the deal. And then it's really important. And this is where the apology takes place. I'm sorry that when I did this, it made you feel this. You know, so many times, and this is where the errors come. Oftentimes people will say, I'm sorry you're feeling that way. That's not an apology. It doesn't take responsibility for whatever you did that caused that person to feel the way they do. And so owning your behavior and the impact on them, even if you accidentally step on their foot, by all means say, you know what, I'm really sorry that when I stepped on your foot, you got hurt. It was not intentional, which I think is the second part. I think you get to describe what's going on for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry that when I stepped on your foot, you got hurt. It was not my intention to hurt you. I did not do it purposefully. And then you get to, talk about like what's going on for you. I'm a little stressed out and I'm a little preoccupied and I probably was not being very careful about where I was walking. I'm using a silly example, but it might be a real one for some people. And then making a commitment to making it different and saying, I will try not to do that in the future. Because you don't want to keep hurting somebody. If they've let you know that something bothers them or hurts them or makes them angry or pushes them away or makes them feel disconnected from you, you don't want to keep doing that behavior, right? Especially unless you don't want the relationship, in which case it's going to blow up and go away. But I think if you take full responsibility, again, for whatever it is that you did or said or how you behaved or what you didn't do, that made that person feel that way, owning that is important. And I will say in general, again, if you say, I'm sorry you feel that way, that's not owning your behavior. It's not going to make it different. It's not a commitment to changing whatever it is that's been hurtful in that relationship. If you somehow, I've had people say, that doesn't even make any sense, or that's not real, or that's not what happened. It does not matter. It is the other person's reality and it's their experience. And so it's important for you to validate that experience and not try to diminish it or make it go away. But really, as we probably both experience many times, people get so damn defensive.
Yeah.
Like, if somebody says, you really hurt me when I did that, they get angry and they feel blamed, they feel shamed, they feel judged, they feel criticized. And I say, take a deep breath. That's not what the person is saying. And one of the things we've talked about in a previous episode in this series of 6 best ofs was that the person is probably really wanting this relationship to work. I always tell people the opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is indifference. And so if you don't care at all, you're not even bothering to work on the relationship. And so I think making an effort and letting the person know, that you matter, that they matter to you by letting them know how their behaviors impact you is really a critical thing to take note of. And I would say it as, I would encourage people, again, to give them the benefit of the doubt. The last thing a couple things we talked about ago, But give them the benefit of the doubt and let them know that they want this relationship to work. So pay attention and listen and try to understand and respond versus react.
Great. Really, really good stuff.
Thank you.
Really good stuff. And also, I was thinking about in our last episode that, your partner is not psychic and you do actually have to tell them what you need and what you feel. And we talked about how oftentimes people will shame their partner for having a particular need or love language. This feels really similar.
Yeah.
The idea that you can't shame someone for getting hurt by something that you've done. And you can't say you're too sensitive or you're too this or you're too that. It really is. I may not have had an intention at all to hurt you, but you've been hurt. I have to own that. And so people will sometimes come up with, well, you did this, or, just like what Doug was saying. And then I always think of okay, is this an excuse for your behavior that hurt the person? Or is it an explanation for why you were not your best self, in which case there is an authentic and sincere apology for hurting the person, even if it was not at all your intention.
Right.
Because I have found, not just with the couples that I see, but in our household too, 2 teenage boys, and just sometimes I'm sorry. Right? Oh my gosh, why did you do that? I'm sorry. Or just this idea that it's okay, you're saying the words, but it could not be less sincere. And then the person will be okay, that was not sincere. That was not a real apology.
Yeah.
Be well, I already apologized. And so that dynamic is not cute. It's not a good look on people. But what I will say, as someone that can tend to feel shamed and defensive because of old family stuff, which we all have our old family stuff, what I might need to do is wait until I'm regulated to be able to think clearly about what just happened, own my shit, and apologize in a sincere way. Because in the moment, if someone is why did you do that, or whatever it is, and they're demanding an apology when I'm still in the height of feeling defensive or misunderstood, my apology is going to suck. And I'm going to need to calm down, get a little clarity about the intention of the other person, and then come back sincere. And I am always, in the end, feeling bad about my part in it.
Yeah, I would say that's true of you.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned something so interesting as a caveat of all of this, or a piece of it, where, the person giving a sincere apology. And most people know the tone and the affect of somebody who is legitimately trying to apologize.
Yeah.
It's really hard. I will tell you, I've been so struck by how many couples who have been married maybe 20, 30, 40 years, and I'm sorry have never come out of their mouth, right? The words, I'm sorry. And it is fascinating to me because of how many times it probably should have. So I look at it and I'm how is it when somebody has never been able to do that? It is some people feel like it's just giving up something of themselves.
That's right.
Or they're giving too much of themselves or getting too vulnerable, right?
Or
to be able to acknowledge
admitting,
that. Admitting that they're not perfect or not doing well. Yeah.
And in a lot of people's heads, admitting that they're not perfect.
I agree.
Means I'm a bad person, or I'm a worse person than you, which some people would. That was just not the way they survived in their family of origin. You can never admit that you're wrong because it's not safe. And if you're wrong, you're bad.
And I also want to tell people, you will feel better.
Yes, it's true.
If you do that and you mend that fence, it is absolutely, or that barrier of whatever we want to call it, it feels better to do the right thing and to take responsibility for your behavior. It will always feel better. It eats you alive if you don't.
And even just taking responsibility
you're a narcissist,
for your part.
Right?
You don't have to take 100% responsibility for an argument, just your part.
Yeah, for sure. And by the way, there's 2 other elements I want to get to, and that's that, oftentimes it will involve the other person also being able to let the other person know that they also were aggrieved or, treated in some sort of bad way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of find myself thinking, so the person who first brings up, I'm feeling this when you blank, that has to be addressed to its thorough entirety first before the other person says, so I appreciate.
No yeah buts.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, but you did this and you did this. You will get your fucking turn. And I oftentimes have to stop people in the appointment like, okay, you did not respond yet. We have not resolved that first person. You'll get your turn. Because oftentimes both people have done something especially if it's an argument or a disagreement, both pieces of people have done something and have a part in the issue not going well. So that's number one. Like, know that it just, finish up one. And honestly, it seems really technical, but say, have you feel heard and do you accept my apology? Like, finish it up and be clear that you have wrapped up that loop and finished up that loop, right? Because the other person does get their turn as well. It's really important. I also want to say that a really, really big issue that comes up is I've apologized a dozen times. I don't know what they need.
So
right?
good.
So there's a part of that I think if somebody has like said legitimately, I am really sorry that when I did that, it hurt your feelings. And the person is like, yeah, do you remember when you did that? Do you remember when that came up? Or do you remember that? Or I don't believe you or whatnot. The person has to listen to the apology and work on accepting it. And if initially it's hard because you don't trust that person will not do that again, this goes back to something we talked about a couple episodes ago. Give them the benefit of the doubt. Let them change. If we were not in the belief system of people can change, we wouldn't be in the right line of work. I always tell people, no matter who people are, they can change. Narcissists are hard to change.
If they want
you have
to
to want to, and you have to be able to change. And there's a lot of factors involved in that. But the reality is, being able to like really accept, I heard the apology, thank you. It's going to be hard. You can even say it's going to be hard for me to hear you and accept it and believe it, but I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and trust that you mean it. So I hope that your behavior follows.
Because an apology without change is just manipulation.
Yep.
And there are also several reasons why someone might not be able to move on, even if it was a sincere apology.
Yeah.
Like I've known couples that have been through 20 years of emotional abuse or toxic patterns. And that even though both parties are doing their work and they're feeling really in love and really connected, sometimes the relationship feeling really good and healthy can feel triggering to the person that feels like they've really been abused for so many years that they don't want the other person to feel like, even if they've apologized and made behavior changes, that they're condoning the 20 years of whatever toxicity there was or mistreatment. And so it is okay, even if you've done your very best to make the most sincere apology, if your partner does still need to be reminded that to remind you that this happened. And they wanted another acknowledgement that was really hard. I feel like hopefully to be heard is to be healed. And in an ideal world, at some point, the aggrieved, which I never knew was a word, but now I'm going to use it all the time, person will feel like they've been heard. And they will move on. Are you aggrieved?
Oops. I am now.
The other last statement that I wanted, well, maybe it's not the last statement, we'll find out, that I wanted to say for the person that feels like they cannot apologize because it will steal from their soul or this is the hill that they feel like they have to die on.
Yeah.
I want you to ask yourself, how is this going to end? Like, what is the alternative? Like, congratulations. You are dying on a hill that's I'm right, I'm perfect, you're the one that did this wrong. So where does that leave your relationship? Like, you're choosing being right over the relationship. I bet you if you go to any family system and you ask, who's the one person in your family that never apologizes and never admits that they're wrong? Everybody knows who you are. So either you're someone that can own your stuff, and as a partner, that's amazing. As a parent modeling that's amazing. But if you seem to be the person who feels really certain that you've never made a mistake and everyone else's behavior is bad, you might want to look in the mirror.
And so I'm loving this conversation, and there's so many factors to it. But, again, it takes strength to take a deep breath and say, I am sorry that when I did that, it hurt your feelings. Because 9 times out of 10, it was not ill-intended. You did not intend to do it. And it was
Are those two
something you made.
things?
Yeah. Now I'm aggrieved. I don't even know that that's a word, by the way. I hope it is. But there's a part of this that, the reality is it doesn't matter. There's no skin off your back. You did not intend to do it. And it may be totally out of your, it may not mean anything to you. Like if somebody did that to you, honestly, if somebody accidentally stepped on my toe, I'd be really I bet they accidentally did it. I'm not going to be like, plumber, and be all hurt by it. So if you do it intentionally now, Talia, I will know it's purposeful.
I just got an idea.
I bet you did. So I think there's a part of this that, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to have any clue what that person is experiencing until they tell you. So be open to it. If you want to work on that relationship, right? It's going to be helpful and critical. But I think the bigger part is even if it would not hurt you the same way or affect you the same way. And I have had people say to me, that wouldn't bother me if it happened to me. I'm like, I don't give a shit.
Every human being on the planet has an equal right
to feel and think and experience the world in the way that they do.
That's it. Friends, this was
Romans countrymen.
This was our 6th of 6 mini-sodes with little nuggets on how to love just a little better.
I had fun in the 6 episodes.
Oh, I kind of like this format.
I kind of want to do more. I want 6 more.
I know. They were cute and bite-sized, and I hope you learned something and got some value out of it. And if you did, you know who to tell. So tell everybody and their sister.
Like I do.
Like you do. Doug does tell everyone. Every single one of our listeners is either a cocktail server or
a person
ER.
Checking in a rental car for my dear friend's daughter.
Or someone you sit next
watches.
to on a flight.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't matter. It's all because of Doug. Did I already say subscribe? Probably.
And go to we'renotfine.com. Please subscribe. It's free to subscribe and you'll be kept up to date on all the events related to We're Not Fine. And there's also, of course, a place where you can ask us any questions anonymously, or you can give us your name. We'd be delighted to show it on the air or tell it on the air.
If you want us to.
If you want us to. And, so anything that you get from these, and really one of the things we're most interested in is after you hear these things, what is your experience?
Yeah.
Do you have any experience after you've tried it? Let us know how it goes. Or if you have other issues or questions or thoughts on what we've said, by all means, let us know. We're welcome to hearing. And we will also respond if we've done something egregious to you.
And
Maybe
if
that's
you
the
are
word I was looking
aggrieved,
to. I think it's egregious. I don't even know what it doesn't matter.
Aggrieved. You have been aggrieved.
I think that's it. I think
and
that's a word.
And you will avenge.
I'm an avenger.
It is officially
I've always wanted to be an avenger. But, please, if we've done something offensive, we will take responsibility and apologize adaptively for it.
Ooh. We're also on social media. You look like the Joker right now. Douglas L. Jensen with an E-N, Dr. Talia Jackson, We're Not Fine Pod. We're also on YouTube, We're Not Fine, and TikTok, We're Not Fine.
I hope this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed our 6 episodes in our series of our best of How to Love. We wish you the best. We'll see you soon.
Love you guys.
Take care.